Hi guys, this video I am posting is about my diet. For those of you that have been following my journey, you're well aware of the phenomenal results I've had in the first 100 days. Now it is going to be a lengthy video, and if you've got the attention span of a goldfish, just scroll on past it. If you're willing to stick around and see exactly what I'm doing and how I'm achieving this weight loss, stay with it, it's well worth it. Now I'm going to talk to you about 3 different types of diets that are out there that I'm combining into one mega diet. And I'll start this off by saying I do not recommend the diet I am doing. I don't. It's crap. It's boring. It's easy to fall off this and shove it to one side, kick it to one side and go, nah, that's too hard, I'm not going to do it. The 3 diets I'm going to talk about that I'm combining all into one, any one of those will have you losing weight. I'm combining all 3 to get such good results. So a calorific deficit. So calories in versus calories out. This is the old school, well proven, well talked about. Most people will tell you this is the only way to lose weight. It's a sound, solid way of losing weight. So you work out your body weight mass ratio and how many calories in as a maintenance, and you eat less than that. And you will then eat into your fat stores and burn some excess weight. Secondly, a ketogenic diet. I highly recommend this diet because you will not feel hungry, and dieting and feeling hungry don't go together very well. So what a ketogenic diet is you restrict the amount of carbs that you eat. Now, when you restrict the carbs coming in, you will go into a state of ketosis. That is where your body switches from using carbohydrates for fuel and your stored fat for fuel. It's terrible within the first days while you make that transition, but once you've made it, you will actually feel fantastic. It's great for your mental health, your attitude. You will feel an uplift. Highly recommend this diet. All you have to really do is keep your carbohydrates under 30 grams each day. Like I said, them first 3 days, it's terrible because you're going to make sure you have all the right nutrition, bearing in mind. Your body's going to go, oh, I've got all the minerals. I've got all the nutrients. I've got all the vitamins I need, but I need some energy. I need some carbs. I ain't got no carbs. Hold on a minute. I've got everything else I need. What else can I use for energy, seeing as there's no carbs coming in? What is this fat? It is stored energy. Your body flips itself into a fat-burning machine. And you'll feel fantastic and your hunger is just not there. So I highly recommend this diet. And thirdly, intermittent fasting. This is where you go long periods of time between eating. You fast. You don't eat anything. I'm going to add a link to a lecture with a well-known doctor on intermittent fasting because the health benefits of fasting are phenomenal. And I don't have the time to make that video, but you need to see it. So look in the comments or the description of this video and you'll find that link. So let me tell you how I implement that into my daily routine. I wake up every day around 5 o'clock and get myself ready in the gym for 6. I exercise, mainly weightlifting, for an hour and I'm home for about 7:15. And this is when I break my fast. The first thing that I have is 2 meal replacement shakes. Now I know there's people that are dead against meal replacement shakes. People like them as supplement alongside the diet. There's several reasons why I like them, but 2 in particular. First of all, cost. Each one of them is like £1. Secondly, I can't get it wrong. Each one has got 33% of my nutritional minerals, vitamins. It's 66% of my nutritional needs are met first thing straight after working out. So yeah, that's done. Essentially, you could survive on these. They're like rations. If you had 3 of these a day and nothing else, you would survive. Now, I'm not recommending that, but I'm just saying. So they're the first things I have. 2 meal replacement shakes, neck them, gone. Straight after that, I have 4 eggs. The reason I have 4 eggs straight after, great protein of source. There's about 5 to 6 grams of protein in each egg. And there's also a good amount of leucine. Now, there's going to be some videos from different digital creators that I'm going to put at the end of this. I hope they don't mind because I've linked theirs, I've put their names in it, and rather than trying to rehash and remake the content, I'd just rather redirect you to it. So and show you it from the actual source that I've got it from. So they're there. And if you are one of them creators, thank you, and I do follow you and I like your information, and I hope anybody that sees it from this video likes your information and subscribes to it too. So, finish my exercise, come home, 2 meal replacement shakes and 4 eggs. Then I don't eat nothing all day up until about 8:30 at night. That's just after the kids have got settled in bed, so I can actually enjoy it and not have to deal with them at any stage. And this meal is the biggest, fattest salad you have ever seen. And I keep that low carb as well. I'll also, either just before or just after, depending on how I feel, have another meal replacement shake. So the meal replacement shakes on their own during the day give me 100% nutritional value that I need. The eggs in the morning, they are to get a good source of protein, high quality source of protein, and more importantly, leucine, which will then spike my insulin levels, which is great for muscle building. So yeah, the meal replacement shakes, all the nutritional value. Eggs there to help me build in my muscle. The nighttime meal, just extra nutrition, and it feels good to eat something substantial at nighttime as well. So a big fat salad, and that's it. For 100 days, near enough, I've done that. I sometimes don't have a salad. I'll make myself a Thai curry, a low carb Thai curry. I use cauliflower rice or something. But it's generally just keeping your carbohydrates under 30 grams each day, intermittent fasting. Like I said, I don't recommend this diet. It's terrible. It's boring. But I mean, here I am doing it and getting fantastic results. And I'm a results-driven person. So me seeing the weight visually dropping off of me is keeping me on my diet. It's keeping me going. So it's all down to mindset, really. Can you put yourself in the mindset of results over enjoyable living? Because it's not. Every time I've been out, because I can go out and I can eat out, I'm just choosing salad on the menu when I eat out. Alcohol. I started this 150-day challenge trying to cut alcohol out. Struggled with that. I still struggle with that. I'm going days, weeks even without having any, and then I'll have a drink. So you can drink on this diet. You'd have better results. I'd have better results if you didn't. But you've got to keep it low carb. So beers and ciders, they're out the window. Wines, they're out the window. But if you go with spirits and you look at, say, and I'm not advocating drinking, I'm saying if you have to drink, your social occasion, or you just really feel like one, you're looking at spirits. Your white spirits are better, so your vodkas, your white rums, that sort of thing, with a non-carbohydrate mixer, such as, like, I don't know, Coke Zero or Diet Lemonade, something. Just look on the back of any sort of mixer, you'll see what carbs are in there. Keep your carbs under 30 grams a day, intermittent fast, and you don't need to, but you will find yourself, it's impossible really to eat over your calories when you do it this way as well. And that's my diet. It's crap, but it works. Anyhow, these are the videos. The next video is by Gravity Transformation, and they're just going to touch on the carbs aspect and building muscle, because a lot of people watching this will be screaming, you can't build muscle without taking carbs and you can't do it. Well, that'll cover that. And then the video after is by, sorry Thomas if I pronounce this wrong, Thomas deLauer, and how timing getting a lot of protein and breaking a fast right after working out is really good for building muscle. So check these 2 next videos out. Leave a comment if you've liked this video. I hope it's done you some help.
Consuming carbs post-workout can have anti-catabolic effects, which means they help reduce muscle protein breakdown. Carbohydrates are able to do this thanks to the response that your body has to carbs, which is to increase insulin production. Most of you don't know that insulin actually suppresses muscle protein breakdown, and to reap the maximum benefits, you'll have to trigger an insulin concentration of 11, 15, or 30 milliunits per liter, depending on the study that you look at. Now, that may not mean much to you, but if you eat, let's say, 100 grams of carbs after a workout, you'll spike insulin enough to reduce muscle protein breakdown after your workout. And that's according to a study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology. This is why many trainers recommend that you also have carbs post-workout. What they fail to realize, however, is that protein also increases insulin. In fact, research indicates that just 20 grams of protein is enough to exceed the insulin threshold to reduce muscle protein breakdown. So from that standpoint, yes, carbs are redundant for muscle growth and recovery as long as you already consume enough protein post-workout.
The first thing you want to talk about is always train fasted. Okay, there are some circumstances in which you would not, but I want you to train in your fasted state. This is important, and we'll talk more about how you can orient the timing in just a bit. And I want you to stick with me through the whole video, but the reason I want you to train in a fasted state is because of the catecholamines. Okay, when you are fasting, your body's under stress, which means you're producing adrenaline, you're producing epinephrine. This sounds like a bad thing because it's fight or flight, but believe it or not, this is actually somewhat muscle sparing. What happens is when you trigger that catecholamine response, like you do when you're fasting or you do when you're working out, you're triggering your body to activate hormone-sensitive lipase and start burning fats for fuel. This burning of fat for fuel actually preserves some muscle. Okay, it makes it so that your body doesn't start breaking that down. It triggers the release of fatty acids to be used instead. So no matter what, unless you're trying to gain fat while building muscle, unless that's your specific goal, you should still train in a fasted state. It's going to keep you leaner and it's going to preserve some muscle. But another cool thing happens. Catecholamines actually trigger a specific contraction of our blood vessels, which sounds bad at first. You're probably thinking, wait a minute, I want to take all these like supplements to increase blood flow and all this. How come you want to contract your blood vessels? Well, it's not quite that simple. When we're fasting and this catecholamines release, the blood vessels constrict, but blood is going to be isolated more so to the larger muscles. This is going to force them to have more blood, which is going to actually increase force output. When we increase force output, we increase strength. With strength comes mass alongside proper nutrition, of course. So we definitely want that. You're actually going to get stronger with your larger muscle groups, like your quads, your glutes, your chest, your back, things like that. You might feel a little bit weaker in your auxiliary muscle groups. That's not that big of a deal. The next thing that we have to talk about is mTOR. mTOR stands for mammalian target of rapamycin. And in the gist of it, mTOR is just the anabolic signaling. What we want to do is we want to turn on mTOR at specific points in time. When mTOR is elevated, we're building muscle. We're activating protein synthesis. It may sound like you want mTOR on all the time, but you don't. Okay, you only want mTOR on at specific times, and that's why we're going to talk about when to time it and when to get those spikes. The rest of the time, you want your body burning fat. You want your body utilizing cells and actually using its own energy for energy. So mTOR works closely with insulin. Okay, so when we spike our insulin, we have high levels of mTOR. So high levels of insulin means higher levels of mTOR, which means higher levels of muscle building. Obviously, we don't want mTOR to be elevated all the time. So here's the interesting thing. When you are fasting, during your fast, your insulin levels are super low. You're not building muscle during your fast. I can almost guarantee that. Okay, while you're fasting, you're just maintaining. You're preserving muscle maybe, but you're not building it. So what happens is, throughout the day, your insulin sensitivity builds, meaning you're getting more and more sensitive to insulin when you do finally spike it. So when you break your fast, you're spiking your insulin big time. So what I mean by this is you're going to want to make sure that your workout is towards the end of your fasting period. So if you allocate your workout to the end of your fasting period, you get to capitalize on an insulin spike in two ways. You're insulin sensitive after a workout, but then you're also insulin sensitive at the end of a fast. So you're double insulin sensitive, which means that when you do consume your protein, you do consume food, you're going to get a big spike in insulin, which means you're going to get a bigger spike in mTOR, which means you're going to get more protein synthesis at that very minute. And that's exactly what we want, specific timing. So that means when we spike our insulin with a small amount of carbohydrates or a small amount of protein, or a good amount of protein, I should say, you get the insulin spike, which means the cells become more receptive to the nutrients that are coming in. Now, of course, that's a benefit because we get more nutrient absorption at that point in time. But of course, we get the activation of mTOR. We get the actual anabolic, metabolic signaling that tells your body to flip the switch and start building muscle. And this has been proven in a study that was published in the journal Nutrients. They found that an increase in insulin correlated with an increase in mammalian target of rapamycin. So specifically in metabolic tissues too. So we're talking like skeletal muscle and stuff like that. Okay, leads me into the next thing. The foods that you should eat. What specific foods should you use to break your fast? Well, it's pretty simple, to be honest. We want to focus on foods that are going to increase mTOR, which are pretty basic, to be honest. Protein, lean protein, specifically leucine, the amino acid leucine, or essential amino acids, those are going to spike your overall mTOR levels. That's what we want. Okay, we want a spike in insulin, We want a spike in mTOR. We want a spike in mTOR from insulin, but we also want a spike in mTOR from other pathways too. We want to do everything we can to get this big spike in mTOR at one specific time because we don't want to elevate it the rest of the time. If it's elevated the rest of the time, you're building fat,